All right, let's get right into it. Imagine this. Deep in the sun-scorched sands of Egypt, someone unearths an artifact that could totally rewrite what we think we know about the ancient world. Today we're talking about the Dakhleh Tablet. It's a single piece of stone, but it whispers a story of a forgotten city, a legendary library, and a warning that still echoes thousands of years later.
I mean, just let that phrase sink in for a second. A city forgotten by maps and time. This isn't just about stumbling upon some old ruins. This feels different. It suggests a civilization was deliberately erased. And that immediately makes you ask, why? What could possibly be so important or maybe so dangerous that it had to be completely forgotten?
So, our whole investigation really begins with the one and only piece of physical evidence we've got, the artifact itself, dug up out in the massive Dakhleh oasis. And believe me, this isn't just another dusty relic. It's the only key we have to potentially unlocking this entire mystery.
And here it is, the Dakhleh Tablet. Now, at first glance, you might think, okay, looks like other artifacts from that period. But when you look closer at the glyphs covering its surface, they tell a story that just doesn't fit with anything in our history books. A story about a place and a kind of power that it seems history somehow missed.
And this is where the story takes its first really huge turn. Because the tablet doesn't just talk about a lost city. No, it points to what was at the very heart of that city. A library of unbelievable importance.
Think about how wild that claim is. We all know about the Library of Alexandria, right? The absolute pinnacle of ancient knowledge. But this tablet is suggesting that way out in the desert, there was a rival, a legendary library that might have been just as big, just as important. Can you imagine a collection of wisdom so vast that someone decided it had to be hidden from the world?
So, who protects a secret like that? Well, according to the tablet, it was a mysterious group they called the Guardian Order. And get this, their mission wasn't just to hide the library's location. It was to stop its echoes, its knowledge, its power from waking the surface world, which kind of implies that the information inside was somehow dangerous.
But the tablet's message, it turns out, goes way beyond just history. As researchers started to really dig into these strange glyphs, they realized they weren't just reading words. They were looking at a map of something much, much bigger. What's so unique is just how strange the text is. The glyphs don't match any known language. Instead, they form these weird, eerie patterns that look like the movement of the stars or the pull of the tides. The theory that's emerging is that this wasn't a record of the past. It was a complex calendar designed to chart the future, a system linked directly to destiny itself.
Seriously, just pause and think about that. An ancient civilization that believed it had cracked the code, that they had figured out the very patterns of fate. What would you do with that kind of knowledge? Would you share it with the world, or would you be like the Guardian Order and decide it's just too dangerous for people to know?
Now, this is where the ancient text slams right into the modern day in a really unsettling way. Because the strange stories on the tablets sound an awful lot like local legends. Stories that people living in the Dakhleh oasis still tell each other today. For generations, people there have talked about weird things happening out in the dunes. They talk about hearing footsteps in the middle of the night, in the empty desert. Footprints that seem to appear from nowhere and lead to nowhere, in places no person could possibly be.
They also talk about hearing faint whispers carried on the wind, just on the edge of your hearing. And the legend says these whispers don't guide you to safety. They try to lead you towards these strange wind-carved chambers hidden deep in the sands.
And this is the part that gets really chilling. The few people who claim they've actually found these hidden places all tell the exact same story. When they go back the next day, the stones inside have moved. They've been rearranged into new, impossible patterns overnight, as if by some unseen hand. So all of these strange stories, these echoes in the dunes, they lead us right back to the tablet itself. After it describes the library, the guardians, and these patterns of fates, the inscription just ends. But it doesn't give you a conclusion. It doesn't offer any answers at all.
In fact, the final passage is really different from everything that comes before it. The whole tone shifts. It feels less like a historical record and more like a personal, urgent message being sent through time.
And this is it, the last decipherable line. It's not a map, it's not a key. It is a warning. A warning to anyone who, well, like us, tries to uncover the secrets of the dunes. It strongly suggests that finding this library might not be some great discovery. It might be a catastrophe.
And that, right there, leaves us with the ultimate question. We have the Dakhleh Tablet, hinting at knowledge so powerful it could map out destiny itself, guarded by a secret order and surrounded by spooky stuff we can't explain. After all that, you just have to wonder, was the warning right? Are there some secrets out there that are meant to stay buried in the sand?